Nirvana speaks the oracle, and I am saved. Thank you, listener, for memory.
So if even if the worst case scenario, I'm just talking up a storm out of my own little psychoenergetic endophasic place, and it doesn't go beyond that. When you're dead, you're dead. There's no disembodied intelligence. There's no spirits. There's no spiritual. It's atheist land. It's physical reductionism. That's my loyal opposition on a bad day. That's the hero's journey, that I have to face that guy, that thing, and wrestle it under the covers, make love to it, interpenetrate it, to get past its defenses and limits, its fears, its self-containment, its mechanisms, and actually had babies from it, metaphorically speaking. And so that you embrace the worst fear, the worst enemy, and out of it comes out of the dialectic comes that which transcends either alone. And adaptively, you're both the better for it on down the line, species specifically, because you had the two stood off from each other too much in the eyes of most of the rest of the species, perhaps. So again, I'm perfectly willing to entertain the fact that there's nothing transcendental about this reality for any of us, anywhere in the universe, and it is the party line. It is the narrative of my enemy, of my conservatives, of my loyal opposition, of those that try to keep me honest by saying I'm all just junk science and garbage and self-indulgence and running off with the mouth and not enough control and stuff. So I can take that frame of reference. Even then, it's really interesting. It really is interesting. Because as a poet, trying to put language to reflect and embody and encode, possible decodability, what's going on in consciousness, we've never done enough of. We had Husserl and Brentano and all kinds of, Merleau-Ponty and all kinds of phenomenologists have talked about it. Some of them actually try to do it. Surrealists, I think, got into that quite a bit. But we've not done a very good job of it. I remember one time before Allen Ginsberg died, the poet, I was saying something about what are you here for? What are you trying to do? What's your ultimate goal or desire or objective? He said, I want to be able to map consciousness. Map consciousness. I think he thought that's what he was doing, because that was his term, his phrase. He told me that as a poet, he's trying to map consciousness. So what I'm talking about right now is how do you map consciousness? Whether the territory is the map's the territory. And I earlier said that I don't care what the Trubitsky or whatever his name was. the Korbitsky said, I think the map is the territory is the map, and it's all interpenetrated in a non-locally connected way at a higher dimensionality, and it's only at the lower, more constrained, differentiated, dissociated, and decoherent levels that we make these distinctions and make equations and bridges and see the differences and make physics out of it and make careers out of it and make enemies out of it and all kinds of shit like that. So, but how do you map consciousness if there's nothing to map in it? If you've reached a point as a meditator or psychonaut, I think psychonaut was the term that Jean Houston and her husband Robert Masters used for people to journey inward. And if while they're journeyed inward, usually in an altered state, they can carry the tape recorder with them or the dictation pad with them or something, or when they come back, if they can not lose too much in translation and bring back enough for others that didn't go through that kind of shamanic journey, that it could be useful. Or is it an undoable task, a challenge? I don't think it is. And part of my job is to model someone trying to do that. And most people don't go there, either from the literary end or the arts end, because they have too much craft or too much responsibility they feel to the aesthetic product or object or experience, or to their audience or to their viewers or consumers, that they really want to make something. They want to take more care. They don't just, it should be just throwaway. What I really represent, not only the shamanist view or the neo-shamanist view, is the Dionysian perspective. And yet the nice part of it, thank God, is that I can be as Apollonian as the next person. I can steer hundreds of people through their dissertations. I can crack the whip. I can tighten loose people just as well as I can loosen tight people. And so in that sense, I can be as Apollonian as the next. It's not as easy. It's not as much fun. It's not my ray that I came in on. The ray that I came in on was the Dionysian ray. That's the one where you ferment the grapes and other stuff, anything else you can ferment. Like my father used to try to ferment anything and get altered consciousness from it when he lived out in Iowa. That you would want to allow for, to surrender to an entrainment that intoxicates you, that moves you to that to the delights of the unconstrained consciousness for a while, a transient episode of letting yourself out to play. Time for recess, not math and science, not teach you the convergent test, the standardized test, not the cultural norms, but it's time to let the animal out of the corral and let it run wild, let it roam a while across the dimensionalities, even into disembodiedness and out-of-body ways and other ways. Let it see itself in the spiritual forms in the mirror. Let it be the shapeshifter for a while. Let it have some fun. Yeah, with the agreement that you're going to have to come back in because you've got a family to raise, or taxes to pay, or a war to fight, and you're willing, you can't do it all in this lifetime anyway, you have to delay some gratification. It ain't going to happen. I've learned after 66 years that I was, if you want to say before my time, it got very frustrating that nobody wanted to hear what I had to say. It was gobbledygook, so they didn't care, and it doesn't help when you move in and out of your own madness and dysfunctionality that then say, see, it's all the same thing. No, not necessarily. So, how do you map consciousness when there's no contents of consciousness? What would it look like? Well, it would be a dynamic patterning. It would be music. It would be olfactory, gustatory.
The flood will come, but you must not forget the oracle. You can say